Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. We're going to begin today where I left you off last night, for those of you that came to Yin Yoga, in a somewhat restorative posture, a version of Supta Baddha Konasana. So the legs are like this, and you're lying back onto the ground. And as you lie back, if you're needing some release in the front of your shoulders, a little help opening the chest, opening the breath, you could either grab a cylindrical shaped pillow or roll up a blanket to be one, cross it about a foot away from the rear edge of your mat so that you can lie down and land the area that's right underneath your shoulder blades on top of that pillow so that it encourages a broadening and lift of your chest. Your shoulder bones can soften downward towards the floor and away from your neck. Now, if you have two yoga blocks, you can go a little more lift in the chest by creating an equal sign just like this. The blocks both on their second level or medium height, so that the one closer to you is where you land that area of your back right beneath your shoulder blades. And the further block is where you land your skull. So whatever you're using or not using, take a moment to, if you need, shift your body around. If your thighs are lifting uncomfortably away from the floor, you may grab a couple more props and stuff them underneath your outer thighs for some support so that we can begin to open the hips as we'll be going further into the hips throughout this physical practice. Whether you stretch your arms out, palms turned up, or settle your left palm on the center of your chest and your right palm just below your belly button. Begin to settle in to your physical space and to your internal space, your inner sanctuary. Becoming more curious about your states of being. Yesterday we talked about yoga philosophy's anatomy of the self as being 5 layers. The physical body called Annamaya Kosha, and then the energetic body within that layer. If you think of an onion with different layers, that's the Prana Maya Kosha. And then the layer within that, which is the mental emotional body, Manomaya Kosha. And then even deeper than that, which is a more subtle layer. They become more subtle as we go inward. And that's the wisdom body, sort of that conscious, that will, Vijnana Maya Kosha. And then all the way into our core being, Ananda Maya Kosha. Ananda means bliss. So the inner state of peace, of joy. So in the ways that you've moved or not moved, interacted with the world and yourself today, what do you recognize is present in any of those layers of your being? Maybe there's a physical tension in the body. Maybe there's a certain energy level that you can tune into. So we've been approaching the study of Svadhyaya, which is self-study. It's within the second limb of yoga, through different angles. And today I'd like to add the component of chanting, mantra, a specific chants that I've been mentioning throughout the week, as well as later on when we're in meditation, a mudra, a gesture. So let's begin to deepen the breath where you are, inhaling a little slower into your belly, into your lungs, and exhaling any sound to your mouth. Several more times, maybe going a little slower each subsequent time. We've talked about how sound is a powerful tool in calming the nervous system, especially chanting sounds and repeating sounds. I want to introduce you today to, or reintroduce you to, a specific mantra. Continue to deepen your breath as you lie here just a little bit longer, please. So in the practice that I'm undergoing right now with my teacher, Ashley Turner, yoga psychology, she talks about mantra medicine, how it can be a healing tool. She's a therapist herself. And the specific mantra I'm going to introduce you to, each mantra has a specific purpose. So this one helps to open and balance the first, second, and third main energy centers from the base of your spine, which is the root energy center, to just below the navel and the lumbar spine, which is the sacral energy center, and then to your solar plexus energy center. And those various energy centers are related respectively to the feeling of safety, the feeling of self-nourishment, and the feeling of personal power. Now, as you continue to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, if that's feasible for you, start to make a soft whispering sound by gently narrowing the back of your throat, warming up your body in a style of breathing called Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breath. Hear your breath so subtly moving in and out in a balanced fashion, sustained in and out. Now from here, begin to bring your hands to your outer thighs, lifting your thighs like you're closing a book, you're closing your knees, just to be hips width apart. Set your 2 feet on the ground flat, and then separate your feet wider than hips distance, dropping your knees together so that they touch. Now we're adding a little gentle stretch across your sacrum, across your lower back, widening it. Imagine you could breathe into your lower back as you inhale, as if you have lungs there. Feel it gently expand. And then try to relax the muscles along your lower spine as you breathe out. Just 2 more breaths. Now, if you do have the blocks underneath you, you may want to turn over to one side and just slip them away so that you can land flat on your back. If you have a little cylindrical pillow, you may not care if it's underneath. You might just leave it there. Up to you. But from here, bend your right knee into your chest, catching hold of your right thigh or shin, and slide your left leg forward straight on the ground, now pointing and flexing your feet, both feet. Draw your 2 shoulder heads on the earth if you're not on a prop. And feel the length along the sides of your neck. Pointing and flexing both feet. So we're just giving the calves a little stretch, a little awakening for the ankle and the joints of your feet. In Apanasana, also called wind releasing pose. And then set your right leg straight down and bend your left knee into your chest. This time, circle your feet. Inhale. Exhale, switch directions, circling your feet. Loosening up your ankles. And awakening the lower half of your body. Couple more deep breaths here. And then set your 2 feet on the ground. Grab a yoga block if you have one. And let's prepare to move in and out of bridge pose. So using the skinniest width of your block, hug it right in between your thighs. Bring your arms down by your sides and locate your feet by walking your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not. Just almost. Make sure that your feet are parallel. They're as wide apart as your knees. Firm your thighs into the block and ground the backs of your shoulders. Tilting your chin slightly away from your chest, we're going to lift the pelvis to the height of your bridge pose on an inhalation, and then right away on an exhalation, we'll slowly lower 1 vertebra at a time. 3 rounds of moving bridge. So inhale, lift your pelvis, activating your hamstrings, As you lengthen the fronts of your thighs forward, broaden your chest. Keep the chin tilted slightly back. And then exhale, slowly lower your upper back. Keep hugging the block between your thighs, your mid back, your lower spine, and lastly, your pelvis. Now, at your own pace of breath, take 2 more, moving Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. So continuing with the benefits of this particular mantra, it also helps to direct the breath and awareness into your pelvis, abdomen, solar plexus, and gently massages those areas, enhancing circulation to the digestive system. This mantra also helps to release the muscles of the shoulders, the neck, the face, and jaw. It's helpful for TMJ if you experience that clenching in the jaw and releasing neck pain. So once you finish your moving bridges, let's prepare to lift and hold bridge for your count of 7 to 10 deep breaths. Really focus on the expansion of your lungs and even opening up your front body from your belly to the front of your thighs. So when you're ready, lifting up, walk your upper arms underneath your back ribs closer together. If your hands easily meet, consider interlacing your fingers. Ground your outer upper arms, tilt your chin slightly back, and you're counting your own 7 to 10 slow breaths. Other benefits of this mantra is it helps to balance those of you who might be more air element quality according to Ayurveda. If you're familiar with Vata, it's a dosha or a body type that tends to be more predominantly air quality. And it also helps to calm those who are more predominantly fire quality. Pitta, any imbalance in that. And basically the mantra is helping us to affirm that as limiting beliefs that we might have about ourselves and our lives are released, you can rest in the sanctuary of your true inner being. All right. At your own pace, once you've lowered from Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, put the block aside, open your arms so they're out of the way, and let's take a gentle moving twist, keeping your feet on the floor. Inhale, drop your knees to the right. Exhale, drop your knees to the left. 7 more rounds here, helping to massage your glutes and lower back, and just to release from that back bend a few more times. So the words of this mantra are in Sanskrit, and they translate to mean, lead me from the unreal to the real, from the darkness to light, from death to immortality. A spiritual teacher, Sadhguru, says that this mantra, it's called Asatoma Sadgamaya, is an invocation and a reminder for yourself to see if what you create works for everyone's well-being or not. And this applies to everything we create, be it within ourselves in terms of thoughts and emotions, or on the outside, like to make money, to do business, to earn a living, or on a larger scale in terms of politics, economics, peace and war. Lastly, he says, if you are not rooted within you, you will keep doing things that will ultimately work against you. So as you finish windshield wiping your legs, turn all the way over to one side. And let's begin to sit upright. You might like to sit on top of a prop if that helps. So I didn't start playing the music because I really wanted to start with this mantra. I'm going to say it, and then I'd love for you to say it on your own. You are on mute, so up to you, because it is going to be playing interspersed throughout our playlist and then into our meditation. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya. Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. And it's in Sanskrit, as all the words and chants and poses of yoga are in Sanskrit. And it's goes like this, sung. Asatoma Sat Gamaya tamasoma jyotir gamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. So in any kind of mantra, whether you're chanting Om over and over again, also the vibration of sound is really important, as well as soothing for the nervous system. Lastly, I wanted to share a mudra, and we'll be integrating this in the meditation, but we'll start with it in a moment. Mudras are gestures, and why would you use them? I posted this on our social media today. You might have seen this mudra a lot, right? Helping to focus. We've used this quite a few times. So they're generally ways to use your hands and even parts of your body to amplify the effects of your yoga practice. And they can be traced back to Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Egyptian hieroglyphics, tantric rituals, Roman art, Asian martial arts like Qigong, Taoism, and Indian classical dance. And some of the benefits for using them, why you might choose to use them, and this is from an article called An Introduction to Mudras written by Christy Tomlinson, is they can be a form of nonverbal communication, an external expression of inner resolve. They can stimulate the flow of prana, which is life force or energy throughout the body. They can quieten the mind by focusing it on the simple touch of hands or fingers. And lastly, they help to adjust the flow of energy, which balances the 5 earth elements within us that can become imbalanced within our bodies, according to Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. So they can be a helpful stimulation of healing. So the mudra, the specific mudra I like to introduce today is very simple. It's called Gupta Mudra. So you simply interlace your fingers, and if you are female, you bring the left thumb over the right thumb. And if you're a male, you bring the right thumb over the left. And then you just bring the heels of your palms to touch lightly, and your arms are just at your solar plexus region. The elbows are slightly flared apart, and you roll your shoulders back and down, sitting up tall, rounding your pelvis, lifting to the crown of your head. And as we pause here, I invite you to set an intention or a dedication for your practice today. Opening the space with perhaps a more familiar chant, Om. Take a deep breath. Easing back into breathing through the nose, softly narrowing the back of your throat, Ujjayi Pranayama. Let's come down to all fours, hands and knees, and begin a few rounds of cat-cow, Betalasana. Feel free to set up your hands in any way. If you want to stretch your inner wrists, you could spin out your fingertips towards the outer edges of your mat, or come up high on your fingertips for strengthening of the wrists. With your inhalations, draw your chest through your upper arms and tilt it up, releasing your shoulders down. And with your exhalations, contract your belly, dropping your head, tucking your tailbone under. Taking several more cycles of breath at your own pace. You might even switch up your hands if you're stretching in one direction, like flipping the palms to face up and turning the fingertips to face your knees. Last few cycles of breath. And then if you need to just lean back into child's pose for a moment, or sit up and shake out your hands, maybe loosen up your arms, a little movement of your own. Then as you're ready, entering downward facing dog, take the first few breaths to arrive with any gentle movements, like pedaling your feet in place, swiveling your hips left and right, shaking and nodding your head softly, or even stretching your jaw, fluttering your lips. Now feel your hands as you separate your wrists, shoulders distance apart, pointing your index fingers forward so they're parallel to each other. Firm down through the base of your thumbs and index fingers. Draw your shoulder blades up onto your back ribs away from your neck, and then broaden them apart by rolling your triceps towards the floor, out palms downward. Inhale, round like cat pose, and come forward into plank. Perhaps this time with your legs straight, you can always set the knees down if needed. Let's take 3 breaths in plank, steadying your gaze a foot ahead of your hands, lifting your navel towards your back, firming your inner heels back if your legs are straight. Exhale, draw your navel towards the sky, send your sitting bones back to downward facing dog. Then slowly walk your feet to the front of your mat to stand in a forward fold. Bending your knees, separate your feet at least hips width apart. Reach your hands behind you to interlace your fingers or grab a strap to hold between your hands. Shifting a little more weight towards your toes. Inhale, draw your chest forward, rising halfway. Exhale, hinge from your hips, drop your skull completely, bowing for a few breaths. Now here you might even move your skull around a little more if your neck needs loosening. Perhaps bend your knees a little more if you're feeling stiffness in the back. Or you could sway the spine, but continue to stretch your arms forward away from your lower back while lifting your shoulders up away from your neck. Couple more breaths. Now as you release your hands, bending your knees, make sure your feet are parallel, hips distance. See if you can graze the floor with your fingertips as you come into a variation of chair pose. Leaning back into your heels, extend your arms forward. Begin to lift them upward, just to the point where you can still draw your shoulder blades down your back. Palms are facing each other. Feel that your front ribs are hugging inward towards your back body. If you look down, your toes are visible because your shin bones are gliding back enough. 2 last breaths in Utkatasana. As you spread your weight through the 4 corners of each foot, join your hands at your heart and exhale, rise up tall to mountain pose, Tadasana. A couple of half sun salutations, firm down through your soles. Inhale, sweep your arms up towards the sky. Hinge from your hips and exhale, bow in, Uttanasana. Press the ground or blocks or your shins. Inhale, draw your chest through your arms, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Root down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms, look up, palms meet. Tracing your thumbs to your midline. Exhale, Tadasana. Last time, Ardha Surya Namaskar. Inhale, sweep the space around you, gaze up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift your heart, lengthening your spine. Exhale, bow a little more. From down to your feet, inhale, rise, lifting your chest, your palms. Exhale, standing tall and rooted, mountain pose. We're going to start a new vinyasa, breath-led movement. Let's slow it down as we set the routes. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift, lengthen forward. Step into your version of plank pose. And as you continue to breathe out, glide forward through Chaturanga Dandasana, hugging elbows towards ribs. Come all the way down the first one. Ground the tops of your feet and inhale into Cobra. Perhaps take a few more breaths here. First Cobra pose. If you're ready for it, maybe upward facing dog. You might even roll the shoulders around or gently turn your head side to side. But really feel the floor with every toenail, with your pelvis. And then tucking your toes when you're ready. Use an exhalation to help contract your belly, and with it, towing your hips up to downward facing dog. Let's pause here, now in stillness. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, tap your right knee outside of your right upper arm, stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Stay here, plank. Bend your right knee towards your nose, contract your belly to round. Set your right foot directly between your hands for warrior two. Spinning your back heel to the floor, align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Rooting down through both soles, cartwheel your arms apart to rise into Virabhadrasana 1. Feel your right outer hip rotate slightly beneath your body as you align the center of your right knee with your center right toe facing forward. Firm the top of your left thigh bone towards your right wall as you steady your gaze towards your front wall, relaxing your shoulders but lifting your heart. Let's take 2 more breaths. Keeping your right knee bent directly over your right heel. Draw the crease of your right hip towards the rear edge of your mat while reaching your right arm beyond your right knee towards your front wall, entering side angle pose. Placing your right forearm on your right thigh to gently push off. Raise your left arm towards the sky, rotating the tricep towards your left wall. Sweep your left arm overhead towards your front wall, spiraling your chest slightly towards the sky. Feel your tailbone lengthen towards your outer left heel. Still wrapping right outer hip underneath your body. Belly firms in. Let's take 2 more breaths in Utthita Parshvakonasana. Now keeping that strong bend in the front knee, right over the heel, legs stay in warrior two. On your next inhalation, peaceful warrior. Rising through warrior two, flip your right palm to face up and lean towards your rear wall in the opposite side stretch. Left hand either lands lightly on left leg or wrap your left arm behind you onto your sacrum or catch hold of your right thigh. Can you allow your breath to accentuate the lengthening of your right side body? Take another in-breath. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands into plank, continue down into Chaturanga Dandasana. Breathe into either cobra or upward facing dog. As you contract your belly on an exhale, toe your hips back to downward facing dog. Let's take a breath here. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, slowly tap the knee outside your left upper arm and plank. Inhale, bend left knee towards chest, rounding like cat pose. Exhale, step left foot directly between your hands. Spin your right heel down. Align your left heel to the arch of your right foot. Then cartwheel your arms to rise up into warrior two. Feel your left outer hip rotate slightly beneath your body. As you bend your front knee just over the heel, facing forward in line with your middle toe. Firm the top of your right thigh bone towards your left wall as you gaze past your left hand. Long spine, deep breaths, 2 more cycles. Now begin to send the crease of your left hip towards the rear edge of your mat, while reaching your left arm beyond your left knee to land your forearm on your left thigh. Gently push off of your thigh as you raise your right arm towards the sky. Rotating your right tricep towards your right wall and sweeping your right arm overhead towards your front wall. Extended side angle pose. Keep rolling your left outer hip beneath your body and spiraling your chest towards the sky while softening your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Let's take 2 more breaths. Rooting down through both feet. Keep the bend in your front knee. Rising up to Warrior One. Inhale, sweep your left palm back into Peaceful Warrior. Side bending towards the rear of your mat. So right hand can land on right leg gently, or you could wrap the right arm behind you to further open the front of your shoulder, maybe catching hold of your left thigh. Picture breathing a little deeper into the left side of your rib cage, accentuating that side bend. Take another breath in. Exhale, touch the ground with both hands and flow into your vinyasa. Inhaling to lift your heart, firming down through tops of your feet. Exhaling to lift your hips, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Take a deep breath in, bend your knees, look forward. At the end of your exhale, walk or float your feet to meet at the top of your mat. Let your big toes touch. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in. Bend your knees, but bring your arms forward in full chair pose and begin to lower to sit for boat pose Navasana. This is part of the sequence. Inhale, lift your feet in boat. Exhale, that's 3. Inhale, option to bend your knees and catch hold of the backs of your thighs. Exhale, that's 2. Imagine lifting your pelvic floor as you inhale to a tall spine. And then exhale, shift forward, back to chair. Sitting in chair again, take a deep breath. Press down through all of your feet and exhale, rise. Hands together at the heart, mountain pose. So that completes the sequence. Let's take 2 cycles in a continuous vinyasa or breath-led flow. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. Using repetition as you're observing what takes place in your different layers. Physical body, emotional body, energy body, and so forth. Next inhale, sweep your arms overhead, bend your knees in chair. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step into plank or lightly jump into chaturanga, flowing into your version of your vinyasa. It could be cat-cow pose. That's an option too. When you arrive in downward dog, inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, tap the knee to your right tricep in plank. Stay in plank. Inhale, draw your knee towards your chest, rounding like cat pose. Exhale, set your right foot between your hands, spin the back heel down. Heel to arch. Inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise, warrior 2. Reach the right arm forward, forearm to thigh. Exhale, sweep left arm overhead, side angle pose. Inhale, reverse this. Flip your right palm up, lean towards your rear wall, peaceful warrior. Exhale, your palms to the earth, lower into your vinyasa. Follow the pace of your breath. Again, back to downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, tap the knee to your left tricep in plank. Stay in plank. Inhale, bring your left knee towards your chin, rounding your back. Exhale, step the foot just between your hands, spin the right heel flat. Heel to arch. Inhale, cartwheel your arms, warrior 2. Reach left arm forward, forearm to thigh. Exhale, right arm overhead, side angle pose. Reverse it. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Touch the ground with your hands. Exhale, lower into chaturanga, or your version of your vinyasa. 3 breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Slowing it down, knowing that you can alter your movements so that you are rebalancing your breath as needed. Let's bend the knees, look forward. On emptied breath, lightly land your feet together at the top. Let them touch. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Let your knees touch. Inhale, sit back into Utkatasana chair with arms forward. Exhale, lower to sit for boat pose, Navasana. Once in boat, lifting your feet. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, 3. Inhale, arms could be whatever variations here. Exhale, 2. Inhale, smile. This is the last breath here. Exhale, rock forward, come back to chair. Inhale in chair. Root down to your feet. Join your hands and rise as you breathe out. Mountain. Last round. Inhale into chair. Getting the energy flowing through this body. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Float or step back, entering your vinyasa of choice. Inhale as you lift your heart. Exhale back to downward dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, tap the knee to your right tricep and plank. In plank, inhale, knee towards nose, round the spine. Exhale the foot forward between the hands, back heel down. Inhale, cartwheel your arms, warrior 2. Exhale, right hand forward, forearm to thigh, side angle pose. Inhale, right palm reaches rear wall, peaceful warrior. Exhale to the ground to flow on your own. Breathe in. Back to downward facing. Last one, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, tap your knee to your left tricep and plank. Still in plank, inhale, knee towards nose, rounding your spine. Exhale the foot between your hands, back heel down. Inhale, cartwheel your arms to warrior 2. Exhale, reach forward, forearm to thigh, side angle pose. Inhale, reach back into peaceful warrior. Exhale to the earth, lower to flow. Three cycles of breath. So in making these alterations, these movements of your physical body, how have you affected the flow of energy through it? Do you feel any different energetically or mentally or emotionally? Notice how we can affect these different layers of self. Bending your knees, look forward. Bottom of the breath, walk or float. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in. Now take a moment, if your blocks are away from you, to set them a foot in front of your toes before we add on to the sequence, just in case you may want to have them there, so you have more options. And then let's come back into chair with legs together, feet together, arms forward, lower all the way down to prepare for boat. Lifting your feet, 5 breaths this time. Last one, inhale. Exhale, 5. Lifting your pelvic floor, inhale. Lifting your crown. Exhale, 4. Deep breath in, broadening your chest, relaxing your shoulders. Exhale, 3. Connecting to your personal power, that's Manipura chakra. Exhale, 2. One more breath. Rock forward, come back to chair pose. Adding on, so your toes are about a foot behind your blocks if you have blocks. Join your hands together at your heart. Turn out your right leg at the hip. As you flex your right foot to stabilize your right knee, cross the ankle over your left thigh, making a figure 4 shape. Splaying open your right thigh, begin to lower your sitting bones, if you can, if that's available here. Further back evenly. Feel your navel draw inward towards your spine and heart. Shoulders relaxed. Option to raise your arms. Checking in with your breath. Option to lower your hands, maybe on the blocks. Option to play with an arm balance, setting your hands on the blocks on their lowest height, or setting your hands on the floor flat, shoulders distance apart. Basically, the arms will move into what's like Chaturanga Dandasana, keeping your arms parallel. As you clasp the top of your right foot outside your left upper arm, your gaze is at least 2 feet ahead on the floor, bending your elbows like Chaturanga. Press your right shin across both upper arms, which you create a shelf out of, tilting your weight forward as the belly lifts, the hips lift, perhaps extending left leg straight back, flexing left foot too. Flying single pigeon. Whatever variation you're in, let's take another 2 breaths. Cultivating santosha, contentment. And then as you're ready from that figure 4 shape, hands together at the heart, set your right foot next to the left and rise to stand. Mountain pose. Before side 2, I want to do a little waterfall cleansing breath. So let's set the feet apart, wider than hips distance, maybe almost as wide as the width of your mat, slightly narrower, parallel your feet. And we'll inhale the arms up, sort of like you're scooping water from a river, and then you're dousing yourself with it like a purification as you exhale a sound, bowing in with knees back. Inhale, 3 more, inhale, let it go, inhale, last time, big release, and then come back up to stand. If you think you might use the blocks for side 2, set them up a foot in front of your feet, and then bring your feet together to touch. Re-steady your breath and gaze. Bend your knees together to touch. Back into chair pose. Join your hands at your heart. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Turn out your left leg at the hip, and flexing your left foot, cross the ankle over your right thigh like a figure 4. Splaying your left thigh further open. Try to evenly draw your sitting bones back and perhaps a little lower. Hollow your belly, lifting navel towards heart. Relax your shoulders. Option to raise your arms. Option to extend your hands onto blocks. Option to move into the arm balance, clasping top of your left foot around right upper arm. And gazing past your hands as you shift your weight forward, bending the elbows back, creating a shelf out of your upper arms on which your left shin crosses and pushes off of. It's the same energy of rooting down to rise up through your hands, through your shin. Wherever you are, 2 more breaths. Coming back into your figure 4 shape chair pose. Join your hands at your heart. Deep breath in. Exhale, rise to stand. Set your left foot next to the right, mountain pose. Let's step the feet wide apart to face the wide width of your mat. Parallel your feet for Prasarita Padottanasana with a twist. So bring your hands to your hips, roll your shoulders back, take a deep inhale. Exhale, hinge from your hips, let your weight shift a little more into your toes than your heels. Lower your fingertips on blocks or the floor, rising halfway. Inhale, draw your chest through your upper arms. Feel the even height of your 2 hips. Maintaining that height, I'm gonna mirror you here. Set your right hand at center, raise your left arm and spiral your chest to face your left side. Breathing in, reach forward through the top of your head. Keep space in your neck by sliding your shoulder blades down your back. Rotating your chest further as you breathe out. Send your right sitting bone back. 3 more breaths. The end of your exhalation, set your left hand in place of the right Rebalancing your hips, lean your crown forward as you inhale, long spine. Exhale, spiral your chest to the right side, raising your right arm. Breath by breath, exploring the range of your spinal twist here. Now, to help keep your hips balanced and support your lower spine, think of tacking your left hip crease slightly back. Last 2 breaths. And as you exhale, set that hand down and begin to fold even more. You could walk your hands back if that's available, whether on blocks or the floor. You could clasp your big toes with your peace fingers and pull yourself in as you bend the elbows apart. Some of you might opt for a headstand and tripod, setting the hands along the same line as your heels, top of the head to the floor, triangular base with hands and crown, elbows bent like chaturanga. So whatever your inversion here, we've got 5 more deep breaths. If your feet are off the ground, gently make your way back to a forward fold. And once in a forward fold again, please walk your hands forward to rise halfway. Pausing there. Then bend your knees a lot. Bring your hands to your hips. Leading with your chest, inhale to slowly rise up. Step or jump, your feet together. And let's come up to the top of your mat. Breathing in, sweep your arms overhead, coiling your chest up into a light back bend. Exhale, bend your knees slightly as you bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway, feel your belly firm in. Step into plank to hold for 3 breaths. Firm back to your inner heels, lengthen your tailbone towards them. Draw your sternum towards your front wall as you gaze at the ground ahead. Very slow chaturanga, glide a foot ahead of your wrists. Bend your elbows to hug your side ribs. Take your time, lowering chest and belly at the same time. Then resting your forehead on the earth, point your toes and let's prepare for bound locust pose with an optional transition into bow. Reaching your hands behind your lower back to clasp or holding a strap between your hands. Keep your ankles no wider apart than hips distance. Keep your feet, your legs parallel, all in support of your lower back. As you point your toes, ground your pubic bone, and inhale, coil your chest off the floor, gently lifting your skull. As you press your heels back, lift your legs as well, keeping them straight. And you're in bound locust pose for at least 5 deep breaths before letting go to rest. Now, if you'd like to transition into bow, keep your knees no wider than hips distance apart and bend them. With your hands, catch hold of your outer feet. Kick your legs towards straight as you pull your feet towards you, using the counter forces to further lift your knees and chest. Walk your shoulder blades down your back. When you're finished with bow or Dhanurasana or locust, rest one side of your head to the ground or on a pillow made out of your forearms. And just take 3 deep abdominal breaths, perhaps exhaling through your mouth to release some heat. So let's move through the same thing one last time, our last active back bend. Now you could start directly in bow if you prefer to catch hold of your outer feet already, or you could start the same way if you like, in bound locust. Some of you might stay in bound locust. When you're ready, coiling to lift up. your count of 7 to 10 breaths in total. As you can probably feel, this is an energizing pose, a fire building pose. Stoking the fire of Agni, of digestion, of purification as we lean into the belly. You might breathe into the belly, opening the front of your shoulders, broadening the heart space, helping to activate the energy center there. When you're done, turn your head the opposite way, and you might even opt to windshield wiper your shins here to help loosen your lower back. 3 deep belly breaths. Let's slide back into child's pose for just 3 breaths in transition. Feet together, knees together or apart. You may like to extend your arms forward for some lower back lengthening or all of the back lengthening. Then with your hands alongside your knees, tuck your chin towards your chest and inhale to roll your spine upright to sit. Then once sitting, coming into Janu Shirshasana, extend your left leg forward. Take the sole of your right foot to hug high inside of your inner left thigh. And if you like, you could bring a strap around the ball of your left foot, holding it with 2 hands. Otherwise, you can frame your leg on the ground with your fingertips. Flexing your left foot, press the big toe mound forward, ground your 2 sitting bones, and then inhale, lengthen your spine. Shoulders relaxed, throat open. Exhale, extend your sternum towards your left pinky toe. Breathe in and pause where you are. Refirm your sitting bones while re-lengthening your spine. Hug the belly inward as you fold, perhaps a little deeper. A few more breaths. Head to knee pose. If you're not holding a strap, you might also hold onto your leg on both sides or your ankle. Let's take one more breath on this side. Begin to lift your chest, firm your belly in. Inhale to slowly rise. Right to side 2, extending your right leg forward. Bring the sole of your left foot high on your inner thigh. Strap around the ball of the foot or hands framing your leg. Flex your right foot, firm down to your sitting bones, and breathe in to lengthen your spine. Breathe out, extend your sternum towards your right pinky toe. Incrementally, breath by breath, folding in. Last breath here. And then lifting from your sternum, inhale to slowly rise. Let's come on down to our backs for your choice of a cooling inversion. Some of you might practice shoulder stand or plow, as long as you don't have any neck injuries. Or you could take a supported shoulder stand using a block or 2. That's where you lift your pelvis and slide the prop right under your sacrum. And then you extend your legs straight up. And that's it. Let's take 5 to 10 breaths in your choice of a cooling inversion. Those of you that are in shoulder stand, be mindful of keeping your neck safe, not putting weight on your neck by tilting your chin back slightly away from your chest and not moving the head side to side once you've lifted your legs. If you were in shoulder stand or plow, you may want to release gently into happy baby pose. And if you were using a block for supported shoulder stand, please go ahead and set your feet on the ground to remove the block, lowering your pelvis gently. Let's meet in fish pose, a wonderful counterbalancing posture. So for fish, extend your legs both forward, feet together but relaxed. Bring your palms face down underneath your glutes, thumbs touching each other. Press your forearms and elbows on the ground and puff up your chest, tilting your chin back. Whatever amount. Some of you might be able to bring the crown of your head to the ground and actually see your rear wall upside down. Opening your throat, take some releasing exhales through your mouth. Maybe lion's breath where you stick out your tongue. 3 to 5 breaths before releasing from fish. Once you've come out of fish pose, please hug your bent knees into your chest. Draw your pelvis and shoulders onto the ground. Crisscross your right thigh over your left thigh. Now coming into supine cow face pose, Supta Gomukhasana. Reaching your hands to catch hold of your outer feet or outer shins or the backs of your thighs. Gently splay your feet wider apart, and perhaps the thighs come closer to your belly. Pelvis remains on the floor for just another 3 breaths. You might be feeling a stretch in your glutes, your outer hips, or maybe across your lower back. On your exhale, switch the cross of the leg on top. Again, catch hold of your outer feet, outer shins, or the backs of your thighs. Keeping your pelvis and shoulders on the ground, gently splay your feet apart and let your thighs come closer to your belly. On your exhale, uncross your legs. Draw everything in, perhaps even lifting head and shoulders this time and rounding into a ball as you give your entire self an embrace. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, sip into the very top, hold it in. Maybe try to sip in a little more, squeeze yourself a little tighter. And then as you open your mouth with a sigh, splay your arms and legs down to land your body in corpse pose. Feel free to use any of your props to make this position even more comfortable, like a pillow under the backs of your knees for lower back relief, or a blanket over your body, maybe over your eyes. Resting a little longer here in Shavasana. Remember that mantras like this you're listening to now are simply ways that we can invoke certain aspects of ourselves. And this particular mantra, as I mentioned, is that to invoke truthfulness and clarity, clear perception, especially of how we perceive ourselves. An alternative mantra you might bring forth is, as limiting beliefs are released, I rest in the sanctuary of my true inner being. As limiting beliefs are released, I rest in the sanctuary of my true inner being. Now, just like physical postures can affect the way we feel, we can uplift our emotions and energy, we can calm our nervous system. Mudras, gestures, especially with the hands, which are very expressive, can affect us similarly. So those of you that would like to stay for our guided meditation, this is specifically one extracted from Mudras for Healing and Transformation, written by Joseph and Lillian LePage. And it is about questioning any limiting beliefs. And if you'd like to join me for that, please begin to move your body gently into a simple stretch, rising when you feel ready into a comfortable seat. Finding a position that is best for you to stay relaxed and alert in, whether you close your eyes or you soften your gaze on something steadily. And if you feel drawn to use the mudra today, Gupta Mudra, again, it's interlacing the fingers loosely. If you identify as female, you can bring the left thumb on top. If you identify as male, you can bring the right thumb on top. Otherwise, you can choose either one. Bring the heels of your palms to touch gently, and then bring your forearms to gently rest on your solar plexus, just below your front ribs. So the elbows are gently splayed apart. Soften your shoulders back and down. Sit up tall without rigidity. Feel again your relaxed flow of breath. knowing that you can always opt to simplify your focus back to the feeling of your breath. As you hold Gupta Mudra, taking several natural breaths, I invite you to attune to any feelings and sensations evoked by this gesture. Notice how your breath is gently directed into your abdomen, cultivating a sense of warmth and ease, a feeling that you are entering your own inner sanctuary of safety. Take several breaths to rest within your sanctuary, deepening your connection with your inner being, which is inherently whole and complete, naturally enhancing your sense of protection and safety. To rest even more deeply within your inner sanctuary, it's important to question and perhaps release any limiting beliefs that may cause disharmony in the world around you and within your own being. I invite you to begin by exploring your beliefs related to success and achievement. While striving for fulfillment is normal and healthy, when it becomes an end in itself rather than a means, we may sacrifice inner peace, making it difficult to rest within our inner sanctuary. Take several breaths to sense the wholeness of your being, recognizing that nothing in the world outside can add or subtract from your core. Next, I invite you to explore any limiting beliefs about how the world or other people should be. Having expectations is normal and healthy, but when they become rigid and demanding, we can create conflict and disharmony that keeps us from experiencing the peace, again, of our inner sanctuary. Recognize clearly that change always begins within our own being. And as you focus on your own awakening, you naturally allow others to find their own time and space for transformation. Finally, I invite you to explore your sense of individuality, which is an essential facet of your being. However, when our sense of I and me becomes all-encompassing, we can create separation from others, fostering isolation and disharmony, again making it difficult to rest within our own inner sanctuary. Pausing, allow several breaths to sense your essential oneness with all beings, especially those of you sitting in nature right now where it might be a little easier to sense that. Like anything, releasing limiting beliefs that could have taken decades to form is a work in progress. But each time we come back to the practice of questioning them, we plant seeds. Resting within my inner sanctuary, I experience absolute protection and safety. Please begin to expand your attention from your inner being, from your breath, to your outer physical being, and to the environment around your physical being. Maybe joining the palms to meet at your heart as we close together. Thank you for joining me in this practice. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. Om Shanti. Shanti means peace.
Astu